Good morning, everyone, and blessings for a wonderful Christmas season here coming up, and just looking forward to hopefully everyone has an opportunity after Thanksgiving. It's a little recovery before Christmas, and an opportunity to get together with friends and family again during the holidays here, and some time for relaxation and enjoyment, and obviously some time to celebrate the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So I just want to thank everyone for being here today. And we have Darnell Baker, who is going to be presenting today. So what I just want to let everyone know is we are recording the meeting, the presentation. We'll put it up on a YouTube video on the R3 network. We've got the last couple of meetings. Crystal was able to get those loaded up. And so if people want to see prior meetings and get information, we are posting those on the R3 website. So just want to make everyone aware of that. I think we don't have too much else to share. Some folks might have some things to share, and what I'd like to do is we'll have Darnell go ahead with his presentation here in a minute. And if you have questions, you can feel free to enter those into the chat, or Darnell said he's okay with taking questions during his presentation. He has some information that we'll share up on the screen as he goes through his presentation. And I'll give him just a bit of an introduction, and then he can fill in any gaps that I have put in. But Darnell Baker is with Ujamaa Place. He's a coach. He's an alcohol and drug counselor licensed by the state of Minnesota. And Darnell and I go back a few years. In fact, I go back so many years, I know his mom, who also worked at the Department of Corrections. And so that was many years ago. And Darnell got involved in corrections as well throughout his career, and it continues with his involvement at Ujamaa Place. He began his career at Lino Lakes in 1994. He probably met Mary Cardinal there on a few occasions. And he transferred from Lino Lakes to Red Wing, to the correctional facility at Red Wing, where he became a case manager and therapist, working with high-risk youth for several years. And then in 2005, he returned to Lino Lakes as a therapist in the CD program until his retirement. And I'm looking at Darnell and I'm thinking, retirement? No, that's not even close. He retired from DOC.
There you go.
and took a new position at Ujamaa Place in 2019, in July of 2019. He's just way too young to retire.
I wish that was the case.
And he also worked for Ramsey County Juvenile Division from 1995 through 2005. He was a hostage negotiator at Department of Corrections and received a lot of training in that area. And another thing that Darnell assisted in was the development of new directions, COG behavioral programming and CD curriculum, in collaboration with the Hazelton Betty Ford treatment centers and the Department of Corrections. And that curriculum is still in use at DOC today. So as I said, I'll monitor the chat. If you have questions, specific questions you want to add in there, that is fine. What I would like to encourage everyone to do too is to put your contact information in the chat, so that people can connect with you. So as we go through the presentation today, if you take just a couple of minutes to add that to the chat, and we'll leave that up throughout the course of the meeting so people can copy that as well. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Darnell.
All right.
And hopefully I can share the screen here as needed to get him what he's wanting to have up on the screen.
All right. Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for coming and to hear a little bit about Ujamaa Place or what you haven't heard, or if you any additional information that you may have heard. Here at Ujamaa Place has been here 11 years this year. We're actually getting ready to step into our 12th year. Ujamaa is Swahili for extended family or cooperative economics, which means we take care of our community. We primarily, Ujamaa Place, we provide holistic transformation for young African-American men experiencing inequity, racism, just at the intersection of race and poverty is what we're really getting down to. We help them achieve a brotherhood, so we get them in a position where they can learn what success is about for their own personal success. Like I said, we've been here 11 years this year, and Otis Zanders, is for those that don't know, he was going to actually come in today and speak and kind of present the opening, but something else came up and he wasn't really feeling that well today. So I'm the one that you guys are going to be hearing for the whole part today. Again, we have 5 main pillars here at Ujamaa Place. We have a education pillar, we have a employment pillar, we have a wellness pillar, which I'm in charge of, and we have a family reunification pillar, and as well as a criminal justice pillar. Our whole goal is to get these young men stabilized in their lives. We deal with a lot of these young men, just multitudes of Black trauma is what we call Black trauma. Repeated experiences of the word no for these young men. It's been a challenge for a lot of these young men. If you put up that chart, Ron, the chart is probably from, I believe, from 2017 on the characteristics of an Ujamaa man. When we're looking at the characteristics of an Ujamaa man, like I said, these are statistics, I believe, from 16, 17. But 57% are unemployed. 45% of them are fathers that aren't really active in their children's life. That's why it's really important when we talk about reunification, that we talk about this theory of transformation, which I'll introduce you to, which is our map of how we stabilize these young Black men's lives and how we prepare them to stabilize their lives with the opportunity to do so. 9% live with their children. 81% have connection with their children. 44% have established parenting time with their children. A lot of our young men, as you know, have been dropped out of high school. I don't know if you ever heard that the pathway to prison is our education system, unfortunately for young kids of color. 44% have established parenting time with their children. 30% are dropped out of school. 92% are chronically homeless, listed, and 22% listed in foster care. And as you can see, 23% have a disability, 4% were all convicted as a youth. 3 out of every 10 young men that come through here have had penal contact with the penal justice system here. Again, they're looking for opportunities. They're looking for what we have as a brotherhood. So what we do here, we have had to develop, if you don't mind, Ron, I can show that theory of transformation.
Sure.
Here at Ujamaa, we have 37 different services that we provide from young men. And it's all based on what we call our theory of transformation, which was developed for us, I believe in 16, where a young man came up with this whole plan. We know if you look at the top, the ultimate outcomes is in the red there. This is our theory of transformation. The ultimate outcomes we want is stable housing for these young men, increased educational opportunities and attainment, secure and retain job, connection to family, and eliminate contact from the penal system. But what we truly believe and what we've come to understand, if you go up a little bit further down to the green section, if you can, Ron.
Yeah.
There, right there. Here at Ujamaa Place, we believe in what's called our foundational elements. And we really come to believe, not specific research, but just it is what it is. If these young men aren't aware or don't get introduced to our foundational elements and the importance of all those green empowerment and spirituality, cognitive restructuring, getting men to think differently about themselves. And when we say that, we say getting these young Black men to think differently about themselves. We educate them that we come from kings and queens. We should walk with our chins up, but after repeated trauma and no's, these young men, their chin gets heavy, they lose hope, and they begin to not have any other option in life. So we go through this process here of teaching them through these life skills, through cog skills classes, getting them to think differently about themselves and believe in their capabilities one of the greatest things that I've had when I worked for the Department of Corrections, and I loved, believe it, my all 25 years, I love the Department of Corrections. I love what it's done. So I'm a big DOC Bobo. I've always been there. But one of the greatest things in my career is working and helping young men of any nationality. And that is what we do here at Ujamaa Place. We primarily work with African-American males, but we do not discriminate. Anyone can come into our doors and ask for assistance. The only thing we share with them is that you'll tend to learn things the Afrocentric way of doing business, is if that makes sense. You're going to learn it from an African cultural specific way of how we think, how we do, how we view the world, how those sort of things. And so we're pouring in to these young men that some of the stuff they've never had in their lives. So when I was in the prison system, I used to always hear young men say, Mr. Baker, when I get out, I'm going to do what I got to do. And I would always challenge them to not do what you got to do, because that's that survival mode thinking that got you here. How about tapping into what you're capable of doing? Because those are two vast different things. So one of the things that we do here at Ujamaa in this foundational element process, we want them to believe, to reach their capabilities. And it's part of the African culture. We talk about self-actualization. It's about reaching your potential. And spiritual development. Now, here at Ujamaa Place, we are strong Christian walkers here, but we do not question where other young men come in through the door. They have their beliefs, but they're obviously going to see and reflect what we have. And we do that pretty consistent, but we do not drag them or deter them from where they're at, because some of these kids come from so much pain, some of they don't believe in anything right now. So that's part of what we do. The African American culture, we value Black ways of viewing things, and our staff demographics explain that. When they come through the door, all of our staff, majority of our staff are African American. All the coaches here are male, Black male coaches. One of the things we do believe is that relationships, especially for the young Black men, relationships is the vehicle to their healing. We know they're hurting with trauma and life experiences, and relationships is what's going to heal that. So what we do here at Ujamaa, we intentionally do things differently in the context of everything I've always wanted to do in the Department of Corrections. I mean, as a therapist, I was all in, trying to help young men change, trying to get their thinking corrected and all this sort of thing. But, you know, there was a thick policy that prevented me from really sharing personal stuff with them that I think would be helpful or any of those sort of things. And the greatest gift to me now that in my retirement is everything that I had my heart desired to help young men, I get to do out here in the community. So as an Ujamaa coach here, when guys are enrolled in the program, they get connected to a coach, and they immediately go in our cell phone. So we're available 24 hours a day. It's not just Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. We are available 24 hours a day. That's what the importance of our high context coaching is. And we hold these accountable. We're big, and we express that in our info session. We're about love and accountability here from Black men without an ulterior motive. That's what it is. Our whole goal is to get young Black men, hold them accountable. We're not going to chase you. We're not POs. We're not going to do anything. What we're going to do is when we see that something that doesn't make sense and is not accurate or is not helpful to that young gentleman, then we're going to check him on that. Now, he can still go do what he wants to do, but he can't come to Ujamaa with that kind of process and bringing drama here on that. If he's not ready, he's not ready. We're going to still be here present, but we are going to hold guys accountable, teaching them about paying rent, teaching them about showing up on time for work, because we work with a population. And I think it's partially, I don't know if it's today's youth or some of these young men just aren't motivated. They're not motivated to move. So 99% of the time we are their motivation. And we do that through our high context coaching, our one-on-one. It's real important role of what we do. And we have a community of men here. We have a lot of group therapies, individual group therapy, and the men are learning the gift of holding each other accountable. So what we do on that, like I said, we believe in that foundational element. If these young men aren't in that area of awareness of their empowerment and spirituality, or the African-American culture, or taking advantage of the high context coaching we have and utilizing this community of men we have, then they really have a difficult time sustaining a job, sustaining employment, housing, all these sort of things. And this is what we call our theory of transformation. So all these classes in the middle, life skills classes, all these things that we're doing here are designed to help these guys sustain stability and be capable. And again, we have a lot of young men that are involved in the criminal justice system. A lot of our referrals come from POs or parole agents, but we also have what we call here low-hanging fruit. We have young Black men that are in college, some young Black men that go to college here in Minnesota from out of state, and they don't have family and they don't have support. So this theory of transformation is equally available to them as well, and the relationships that we have. So this is the theory that we go through, and we what we do is on every Wednesday, we have an info session at 10 a.m. So again, we have referrals, we have grandparents that bring people in, mothers, uncles, stepfathers, everything. And every Wednesday at 10 a.m., we have what we call our info session. And it's about 1 hour and 15 minutes long. We review this theory of transformation. We introduce to all the coaches, the employment coach, myself, the housing guy, and as well as our home coach here, who does kind of multitude of duties here. But what we do is we invite the guys in, tell them the history of Ujamaa Place. And if you didn't know, Ujamaa Place was designed, developed by Commissioner John Harrington, who's our public safety commissioner here in the state of Minnesota, as well as 3 other gentlemen. Rick Heidinger is one that passed away about a year ago. There was 3 Caucasian men and John Harrington. They created Ujamaa. They came up with the idea. One of the guys that came, I'll mispronounce his name. He's from Croatia, so I don't even want to say his name. But he marched in the civil rights back in the 60s. And then he moved up to Minneapolis, and he realized there wasn't a lot of stuff going on for young Black males here. So they got together and they created Ujamaa. And that's how we evolved. And we've evolved. Back then, it was from GED and high school diplomas, believing that would get young men off the streets. But it evolved into what we have now is 37 different services. If you flip that transfer or go up a little bit further, Ron, no, I'm sorry, the other way. This right here is all the different services that we provide. We have a housing, transitional housing. When guys come into our program, like I said, with info session, we tell them all about the 37 different services we have. And then what we do is we invite them to join the family. Because someone comes through the door and comes to info session, we don't foster the belief that they will want to join immediately. We just invite them to join. And then if they do take that invitation, they get assigned a coach. They'll get a class schedule, because we have a weekly schedule where we have cog skill classes, tenant education classes, GED prep classes, driver's license permit classes, career development classes. We have jazz therapy group, we have music therapy group, and we have men's group here. Those are just some of the things. We also have cultural financial literacy here. We have a film club here. We have a podcast here. So guys and one last thing, we have a music group. We actually have a studio up on our 4th floor. I don't know if any of you ever been introduced to the Ujamaa Music Group. I'd be glad to send you any kind of information on that. What evolved out of our music therapy group was our Ujamaa Music Group. It's about 4 young men from all different genres of music that collaborated, and we have a studio upstairs. And Kirk Johnson, who was Prince's drummer, he's the actual producer behind them. And so for the last year, they've made a ton of music, and it's gotten a lot of views, a lot of hits, and they've been invited to a lot of organizations and functions to perform. So that's another piece, because we had a good 60% of our men come through are into music, that's for sure. So when they come in, we have all this information, we share that, we invite them in, and then they're in, and we begin to coach. We begin to make sure that they have a plan. Is housing your track? Is employment your track? Which track is it? And that's where we go from. If we are not a chemical dependency program, although we do chemical dependency education, we have a referral process we do we have 3 treatment programs right here in our building that we do refers for Rule 25s whenever that is required. Same with our mental health. We don't have a mental health practitioner here on site, but we have a referral process and an organization we utilize for those purposes. And it's amazing sometimes, because a lot of these young men don't especially in the Black community. Historically, we have shamed mental health. Mental health was that, ain't nothing wrong with you, boy. Ain't nobody, them people don't know what's wrong with you. And believe me, that's gone for generations and generations and generations. So in the African American community is really in the last 15 years is really coming around the corner to own the mental health issues that are in our community, and which is a vital portion of our community becoming healthy again. And like I said, so this is all the 37 different services that we have. And I could tell you a little bit about each pillar here. Like I said, the wellness pillar, which I'm in charge of, we do cog skill classes. We do individual and group therapy, as well as we do a lot of trauma groups. I think we do about 2 8-week trauma groups. We usually have outside sources come in to help with that process, to get a fresh face in here for some of the young men. And it's amazing, like I said, how much this trauma has really impacted these young men in their decision-making process as well. And like I said, when guys come in, most of the guys that are come in are referred to for a Rule 25. We just march them right upstairs, and then they have to follow the recommendations of that. Our education pillar here is, like I said, we have Dr. Raj. She's our GED director. She's also in charge of the driver's license permits, and she helps college guys with their homework and their assignments as well. And when those guys, they get, like I said, the driver's license stuff, they also have the GED. She's works 3 days a week here. And so guys set up appointments and stuff through her. We also have a relationship with St. Paul College. St. Paul College has been a partner for ours for about 3 years now, and they've been phenomenal. We have a series of certification processes that they've tapped into and made it specifically for our men. For instance, last night, we had 8 young men just graduated or completed their certification in forklift operating. So every Wednesday for the last 6 weeks, they've been going to St. Paul College. All they do is come through here. It's at no cost to them. And they've gotten forklift operating certifications. And we also do that with light automotive training, TIG welding, culinary safe serve, our culinary arts. And that's been going on for about 3 years now. So we've had a lot of guys that have been certified in those areas and actually have received gained employment in those areas. A lot of the young men that we have don't really have the vision of going to school for the most part. And we're really encouraging them to look at certification process. We're actually trying to push really hard towards the trades. We are in connection with 3M. 3M is a great supporter of us. And we just did a series of commercials with using our Ujamaa men to push the skills trade. We have a young Black man that I've been working with for about 1.5 years now. He got out in June of 2020. He got out in June of 20. I think he did 4 years. Young man, 25 years old. And I'm his coach. And we talked, and he had an interest in going to welding school. So he went to Anoka, Ramsey County, and got his certification in welding. And here we are. Today is almost the end of December here. He's still out. He's gainfully employed as a welder. And what we were able to do, because once Ujamaa realizes that a young man has made the decision to invest in himself by engaging with us, we will produce anything he really needs to do. So just in the last year, this young man that I'm talking about, we've probably spent $10,000 just on this young man alone. We bought him his own MIG welder. We bought him his own MIG, so when he goes to work, he's got his own, and now he's working and studying to become a master welder. And here he was in prison a little over 1 year ago after doing 4 years. So, and he's really grateful. In fact, he just left our building today because he came in to do a video shoot on being a father, because he's a new father as well, and just moved into his own apartment with his girlfriend and the baby. So those are the theories, those are the transformation things that we look at for young men to do. And again, that's that certification that comes from St. Paul College, that we have that relationship. And like you said, the criminal justice, our system, we want to create separation from that. We want to create separation from the criminal justice for these young men that don't know how to do that. And it takes employment, it takes a brotherhood, people that are support and hold you accountable. And that's what we do here at Ujamaa Place. Our housing, our transitional housing, When guys come in, if they decide that housing is a need for theirs, they sign up and they go through an 8-week tenant education class where they learn it's a curriculum from Rent Wise at the University of Minnesota. They learn about budgeting, they learn about roommates, what's responsibility, those sort of things. Once they complete that and they go into our housing, we selected, we have a series of houses here in St. Paul that we put young men in. And we do not charge them rent for the first 90 days as they're getting settled. Some guys are already employed and some guys are seeking employment. But again, our transitional house is not immediate housing. So that becomes a hassle sometimes, but we have a relationship with Union Gospel Mission. So where if we need a bed immediately, we can do so. But our guys go through that 8-week tenant education. They get on the list. Once they get in housing, we do not charge them rent for the first 90 days. And then when we do charge, we charge a flat $400 per month. That's all they got to take care of. And what we do with that is we save that. And after 12 to 18 months, depending upon the individual and how driven he is and how things are going, they're to see their coach every 30 days while they're in housing. And they're doing that to make sure they're maintaining employment, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, trying to stay on track and stabilizing their lives. And at the end of that 18 months or that 12 months, whenever it is, we reward them back with half of what they paid into their rent. And at times we often will set it up that we help them with down payments or deposits, those kind of things, if that's the need. Again, that's part of that process. It's a real important piece of ours. It's 90% of the guys come through here and need housing. I wish I could just buy a house in one of the big buildings in St. Paul and just put everybody in, but our housing process, it can real beneficial for young men. And sometimes we've had to remove some men that just kind of violated the rules and they just want to kind of live how they want to live and not move and not come to programming. And our expectation is you're going to be on this theory of transformation, or you need to step away until you're ready to be on this theory of transformation, because that's our responsibility here. That's our responsibility to our funders. That's our responsibility to these young men individually, even if they don't feel that that's their responsibility at this time. So I'm trying to think, and I believe, I didn't think I left anything out. Is there any questions, or I know I can get to rattling.
Hey, Darnell,
Well,
good to see you,
I'm
brother.
busy.
I had a question. Who would we refer people to? Do you have a name or a point of contact to contact at Ujamaa?
Darnell Baker.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, like I said, we are going through Ujamaa itself is going through a transition phase. I mean, I've been here. July will be 3 years. Mary Cardinal, did we retire 3 years ago almost? 2.5. 2.5. But no, and we just this program grew so fast that I think the people in position prior to weren't prepared for this kind of organization. So we've had a lot of staff changeover here recently. Right now, I'm doing dual duties. I'm the wellness coach, but I'm also in joint with another coach running the housing program right now, because we're in shopping for a new housing program. So yes, that's why I said you can have them call me. And I can give you the number, 651-528-8006. That's our front desk, and they'll get you to any one of us. And normally, like I said, our info day is Wednesdays, but we're pretty flexible because some guys work and can't get here on that specific time, but we'll work out a schedule. We've grown here. There's not a young black male here around here we do not want to touch. We want to connect. It's a high need, and we see it every single day. And I thought I saw it in prison all the time, but I see it on steroids out here.
Jump back to the gallery view here so that I can see if anyone. I've got a few questions for you, Darnell, that I can hit you up with here. Just you talked about 12 and 18-month kind of time frames. Is there a specific time when somebody enters? You know, you've got a whole host of different services. I'm just wondering if there are time elements involved, different phases, or you know, what is kind of the normal path for somebody coming to Ujamaa.
You know, it's interesting about that is that we were just having a discussion the other day because the phrase is he's an Ujamaa man. Because the clientele we have here, and I'm sure most of you guys have experienced the same thing. And they're up sometime and they're just down sometimes. And when things fall apart, I mean, it like falls apart. So when we go 12 to 18 months, it's really about his individual investment in himself. We're never saying at this point you got to go. At this point you better have vast improvement because we're looking almost for any improvement. For instance, 2 weeks ago, one of the guys on my caseload calls and says, "I'm quitting my job." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Tell me a little bit more about it." And he kind of explained it and it made sense. And I said, "So you're giving him a 2-week notice?" He said, "No, I'm quitting my job today." And I said, "Well, how would that help you in the next, da, 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 da." And lo and behold, he didn't. He gave him a 2-week notice. He completed his 2 weeks notice. You know what I mean? And he did it. And to us, that's the measurement stuff that we look for. What phase and are they being consistent with making more good decisions than not so good decisions? And that's one of the things we just, the coaches here, we just went through, all the years we've had with cognitive behavioral therapy and all that. We just went through some additional training a couple weeks ago through Ramsey County with decision points. And I'm sure most of you guys have heard that as well. So we're beginning to implement some of that stuff. We tie some of that stuff, again, about measuring some of this. When guys have violations in the house, they receive a written violation, and then they get a thinking report attached to it. And then they got to come to cog skill class to present it. Does that make sense? And that's part of the process that we do for any violations. And believe me, these guys, as you know, the population we deal with, these guys will violate when the opportunities presents itself because they haven't developed that stuff yet. So, and again, it's really, we meet the guys every 30 days to kind of see that they're stabilizing. That's our main goal, is that they're showing up where they're supposed to be showing up and coming in here and doing some of the things and programming that they need to do here. That's kind of our measurement. There is no real phase 1, phase 2, or any of that sort of thing right now. It's just really collectively every Tuesday we meet as Tuesday afternoon, we meet, we reviewing caseloads, where guys at, and you'll be, as you know, this coach heard this thing from this guy. And then when we get to the table on Tuesday meeting and we find out, no, that's not what was actually told. So we do, and that's that form of accountability. It gives us an opportunity to tell him he violated, and he has a thinking report he needs to come and bring in to us so that we can address that at that point in time. But there is no phase 1, phase 2, phase 3.
Okay.
And we really believe once an Ujamaa man, you're an Ujamaa man. This Ujamaa man is going to look a little different than this guy. And again, what does that success look like? We have a young 19-year-old we just put in our house October, and he's from Chicago. Got family up here, but he's not connected to too much to them. There's a lot of volatile stuff between their family. But he went through our attendant education. But the whole time he's been here, he worked at Pearson Candy down in West St. Paul there. And he got past his 90-day mark, and he got the benefits and all those sort of things. And we had other guys that are 25, 26 that I'm going over to the house and I'm knocking on the door. I'm like, "What's going on with the job?" "Oh, I'm calling the temp service today." And I'm like, I get that, you're on probation, but I think you use probation as an excuse to do temp service. I said, so a lot of our guys like to go work for 7 days, get a little money in their pocket, and then they want to go kick it with their boys for about 2-3 weeks. And then come back. And when I say, well, where's your rent? Where are you at with the rent? Okay, yeah, I'm going to go get this job. See, and then we hold them accountable and we say, our role is to help you gain stability, and you're gaining no stability in the process you're doing. You know what I mean? So now if you're not on board with, because we'll help you find a job. We can find a permanent job. We give them opportunity to do it. But if you're not, then we're going to say, which one of these 3 jobs you want? Because you got to take one of these 3 jobs. You have to take a job. You can't no longer do that. So like I said, so we had a 19-year-old kid that's steady, taking care of his business. And then we got 25-year-old kids being lazy, not wanting to move. And it's just coming to fruition now in our housing program that this accountability, we had to grow from that, because unfortunately we had in the past, when I came here, we had some men in housing or transitional housing. We had in for like 5 years. And I said, that doesn't sound like transitional. And imagine all the guys that couldn't get in housing because this guy's still here. what are we doing about holding them accountable getting work? You know, that we can't let them do that, because some of these guys did that. They would get in. Once they got in, they wouldn't come to the door here anymore. And then no one would go to them to hold them accountable. So that's kind of a flop switch that we've done, and it's working. Guys are paying rent. Guys are getting word that, hey, this is about being on the theory of transformation. If you don't want to, that's okay. You can't not do it here. And again, like you said, this is the clientele we know. And when we go back to the table, sometimes we get frustrated, but guess what? This is Ujamaa men. These are the clientele that we have. They have minimal skills. They have minimal critical thinking skills. They're very impulsive. They move off of what they want and not what they need. You know the whole thing. And that's what this brotherhood that we have here. The coaches here are pretty solid. It was a well put together team by Otis himself. A lot of us have history from Department of Corrections, so we know the inside, and we have mad love. We show Jesus love here for real.
Darnell, do you have a set of guidelines or something as far as once they do get a job, how consistency their employment has to be?
Mm-hmm. It's not a guideline. It's more of a coaching aspect that we use about that. And believe me, these guys will do that. I'll have a guy here this month, and he'll quit a job, and next month he's trying to find a new one. One of the things that we've done through our high context coaching, again, we're on the phones constantly. We're constantly reaching out, even when guys don't reach out to us. We're just saying, hey, love your brother, have a productive day. Hit me up when you get a chance. Get a hold of me. Praying for you, praying everything's okay today. And some of the guys don't respond, but the ones that do are the ones that are learning to stabilize their life, because they're trusting other people to help them. They're realizing they cannot do it on their own. So some of the guideline stuff, again, it's just about kind of we're big into this relationship piece. You know what I mean? And I'm not sure if I answered that question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did pretty well. The aspect of their communication with you, where they're actually at, instead of saying, well, I lost my job, and then not following up with you, is I guess the guidelines would encompass that. If you're out of job for more than 3 days, you let us know so that we can help you or advise you.
You know, unfortunately, sometimes, and this is a reality here that we know in the Black community as well this nonprofit organization here. Some of the young men that we work with, their survival mode was all about slick, lie, manipulate, and do. And they did it with other systems as well as they come in here. And we're trying to teach them they don't have to do that here. You can be upfront and honest about here. For instance, one of the guys that we moved in 2 months ago, and we had some debate. We talked about it as a team, and we decided to move him in, and we moved him in. And then about 4 days later, I went over to the house, usually when I see him at work or when I know he's at work. And I walked past his room, and I knocked. We have one house that has 17 rooms in it. And I went by, knocked on his room, and I said, hey, bro, aren't you working today? He said, no, they gave me the day off. I'm like, oh, that's your normal time you go. I said, you sure everything's okay? Yeah, everything's okay. Well, I come to find out the next day that he got fired the Friday before I moved him in. But he didn't want to tell me because he thought we weren't going to move him in. And he's 20 years old. So staff were like, he lied, but he's 20 years old. Come on, people. He's 20 years old. He's desperate, and what we addressed that he didn't need to tell us a lie. He didn't need to do that, So he cleaned it up. And he got him another job. And now he's working again and things are okay. See, but like I said, it's that there wasn't that need to do that. You can be upfront, you can be honest. That's how we're going to get the most help from us. You know what I mean? We want to be transparent. We want to see you and take you in your flaws, just so you can see our flaws and we can work on our flaws together. That's just how it's going to roll here. And we are very, COVID has kind of really disrupted things. Fortunate enough, we have a virtual equipment. We immediately went to virtual classes. We have Zoom classes, group meetings via Zoom, those sort of things. So we had just normally, Ujamaa was open from 8 in the morning, 7:30, 8 in the morning, till about 8:30 and 9 o'clock at night, pre-COVID. Guys could come in, they'd get oatmeal, pastries in the morning, whatever, cereal, there'd be milk in the kitchen there. And some of them would go to work, some of them would stay for class. And then we have a lady come in at noon. She'd bring hot meals for everybody that's here at class and for people that would work. Some guys would go to work and come into Ujamaa for lunch. And we'd sit down, we'd eat and this, that. And then at 4:30, she'd come again with another hot meal to feed guys coming off work. Guys would call in and say, hey, save me a plate, you know, that kind of thing. And we'd be open till 8:30, 9 o'clock in the evening with some of our film club music groups and stuff like that. Well, COVID kind of wiped all that off, and we're down to about 8 hours a day now. We're limiting more about 10 guys in the room at a time versus the 20 something we normally used to have. We have bag lunches every day for guys that come in here. And all the guys in housing, they still get hot meals. We still deliver hot meals to all the houses. And we check the houses every week, if not twice a week. And again, that coaching thing, you'll be amazed how many pictures I take in my phone here of a trash can that's so full that you had to place something on it. There's no way you could have just tossed that trash. You had to actually place it on it. But you take pictures of those things and we bring them back to these guys and see, these are the violations you're talking about. You guys live here. Who's going to empty this trash? Well, I emptied it last week. Nobody else, you know that. So it's about teaching these guys, you guys got to collaboratively here. This is how you take care of this stuff. This is your house. This is your roof right now, you know. So it's that kind of constant kind of coaching.
With these classes, are they available at each of the houses or in their individual rooms?
Yep. No, what we do here, we're open again now. Guys come to our building to class.
All right.
But we also have in our 17-room house, we have a classroom there and virtual equipment that they could do class there as well. We also have computers in the other houses, and we put them there when COVID came down. So that all the other guys have access to come to class and do those sort of things. So we had one big computer in the living room, and we had like 5, 6 guys in the house, and they could come to class when they needed to come.
Okay.
And then just sign right in and log in.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Could you talk some more about your trauma groups that go for 8 weeks?
Yes. I want to say it was January. We completed one last January by a young Black man that grew up in St. Paul, like was born, raised here in St. Paul, went to St. Paul Central High School, graduated. He's graduated from St. Thomas, young Black man, really sharp. Qasim Abdur Razak is his name. Phenomenal young man. But we asked him to facilitate some 8 weeks of Black men's healing. It was called a Black men's healing experience. And we had about 12 participants go through an 8-week process, and just a step-by-step going through what trauma was, what trauma is to you, what trauma is to us, how it's impacted people around you. It is a powerful group, pretty emotional. And it was really interesting because we had 2 generations in there. So we had guys my age, 58 and up or something like that. And then we had some younger. And it was really interesting, some of the trauma that the young Black men would express in their anger towards the older community and the older Black men about not teaching the younger group. So it was really interesting to see where that trauma, was present, even from absent fathers, those sort of things like that. Again, trauma is significant for these young men, and marijuana has become the drug of choice to deal with all of it. It's not helping when our world is saying legalize it, because they're justified. There's times where we've had to, guy will come in here and I go, who's got that cologne on? Please exit my building. I smell that cologne. Who's got that cologne on? Don't smoke a tree and come in here, please. You're disrespecting yourself. You're disrespecting Ujamaa and the services that we're trying to provide for you. We don't argue and debate it. We're just going to ask that you leave. And like I said, and trauma, that's how they're choosing to deal with that trauma, through the violence. I'm learning so much myself being out here in the community these last 3 years, or last 2.5 years. I didn't realize I was really on a new educational life, seeing things from my perspective. I realized I've been in prison a long time. When you get out here and you see all the things that you see and experience. And it's also amazing here, my first 6 months here, I realized how much comfortable when I was in prison, not just how I dealt with guys, but I had segregation and never even recognized that I relied on it. Does that make sense? Because here, in my first 6 months here, I had a couple guys come at me like I wasn't expecting, whoa. And I can't pick up the phone. I can't call the radar. I got, okay, what am I going to do here? What am I going to do here? You know, we de-escalate the situation, walk away. And I realized, wow, back in the day, I could just make a phone call and this guy would have to deal with this. But it's what's out here. There's a lot of hurting young men. And as we know, hurt people. And, but I am very grateful for being out here and being a part of Ujamaa, this organization. I love every day that I get to, you know, we greet with hugs here. COVID kind of put a stop to that, but it's coming back now, you know, and these young men, they're learning to acquire a taste to receive love from other men. I learned that probably 20 years ago. I have for those that know, Tom Berner is a great retired guy from the Department of Corrections over the years, great mentor in my life. And he had told me that probably 18 years ago. He said, men don't get their stuff right and sustain things right until they learn to have intimate relationships with other men. And I picked that up and I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. And ever since I took heed to that, I can't do without the men in my life. I can't do without those. So I want to be everything plus that. And one of our board members, she's actually the board of director here, the director of our board, she said, these men deserve the best we have. And that's our mission here. And we do our best to give them as much as they can, as much love and support they can, but they're also going to be held accountable. And when we're consistent with love and support, the accountability piece comes pretty easy.
See, Darnell, you mentioned at the outset, so many of the young men are coming and you're seeing them, you know, they're lacking in any motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a whole host of reasons for that, you know, loss of hope, loss of opportunity, maybe, you know, was never provided to them, or made, I should say, even available to them, not so much provided, but even available. And, you know, with the things that have gone on over the last couple of years here, I'm sure that has traumatized a lot of folks, especially in young African-American men who are living in a community that has seen so much turmoil and upheaval, even more so pronounced over the last couple of years. But what, you know, how do you, and maybe this is a question that you really can't answer. I mean, I can see all of the things that Ujamaa is putting in place to help restore some of that hope and some of that motivation. But what are you finding is maybe most effective, you know, in helping restore hope for these young men and getting them on a path? You know, is there some, and I shouldn't say it, but is there some magical equation that you're using here? But, you know, what do you see as most effective, Darnell, you know, with being out here and working with these young men?
Agape love.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I believe.
I agree.
And I don't mean it to be simple, but that is real. This is another thing going about the lack of motivation. COVID also hurt us in that fact. Because once employment checks came out, unemployment.
Yeah.
These guys, they didn't want to work. Not only did they want to work, we had to get on some men. They didn't want to work. They were collecting these checks. They were buying cars and stuff like that with these checks. And they're not coming to pay rent. And I'm like, I heard you bought a car. Yeah, I bought a car. But look, according to here, bro, you ain't paid rent since, you know, that's not theory of transformation kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So yeah, those are unemployed. And these young men, they wanted to ride out the whole unemployment thing. And it was hard because we're sitting here trying to get them to go to work now, Oh, I'm not, you know, and I get it because the unemployment check was more than these guys were getting anyways.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So that was a significant challenge. And again, to the other question, Ron, I didn't mean to make it sound simple when I said agape love. It's really, I really believe in relationships. I've been so honored, like I said, in my career I can almost think of every man I've ever worked with, you know what I mean? And it was really cool is now that I'm out here in Ujamaa, I got men that I worked with over the last 10, 15 years. They come here, they call me, they check and they say, hey, can you help me with this? I got a young man that he's too old for our program, but he came out we enrolled him and he comes to group, he helps the young men, and we just put him in a CDL driver's class. And I met him in 2009, I think it was, in prison. I just, like I said, and it was because of our relationship. I know men, we have a difficult time asking for help, and we have a doorbell. We have a bell on our front door. And anytime that bell rings, our staff, that's that bell of courage, because most men, we don't like to ask for help. When we get in struggling circumstances, we don't want to do it. But when a young man comes through that door, he's in a place that I say, I need help. And we want to be available to do that. And it's the relational piece, and it's learning. That's the joy of it, is learning to build a relationship with someone that doesn't trust you. And then you just pour love, and then they don't trust you, and you pour a little more love, and they don't trust you. And then that distrust goes away, because his fear is going away. I can go here now. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And
It's
that's
all
what
about the relationship. that
it is.
continues
It's all
to
it.
develop.
And one of the things, Ron, we are being utilized in so many ways here in Ramsey County, especially. And we just had a meeting with Dakota County last Friday, I believe, with their probation services and all that. And we also with Ramsey County here. We're on a number of different things with Ramsey County, helping them adjust all there's a program they got called AIM. It's called Adult Intervention Model. And we're meeting weekly, because the departments are finding out their relationships is what this is about, and everything they're doing. You want to get a guy off parole, have a relationship with him. Guarantee you will increase his chance of getting him off parole. I guarantee you. It's factual. If he doesn't have no relationship and nowhere to, it doesn't work. If he comes out believing it's me against them again, it just causes too many. And it's so great because Ramsey County, Dakota County, everyone's changing to this model. Even I heard Dakota County, they went from calling them offenders to clients, and they're talking about calling the POs coaches. And I said, you know what? That's huge. I said, I've been around this prison system 20-something years, and it's like the last 4 or 5 years, people are finally getting that piece to stop guys from going to prison. They need to be welcomed back to the community. And that's what Ujamaa is here for. We're here to welcome these young brothers back. Because I have 40 guys on my caseload that come to me directly from prison. We have a PO that works out of our office space. And I got 38 guys. And I have, like the Cedric, that one kid, the welder I was talking about, he came through that program. And I have a basket full of money to get these guys anything they need, work clothes, we have a relationship with Micro Grant. It's a place where we have a guy just picked up his car last Thursday. We had a young man that just got his car last Thursday from an organization that's helping him. So we are so heavily supported at such a crucial time. When you talk about the hope for the young Black men, like I said, George Floyd's murder was big. It was impactful to everybody in the world, especially here in the Twin Cities. What we did is on our podcast, we did the whole Derek Chauvin trial. Every Saturday morning, we would meet and have a podcast with Otis Zanders, our CEO, and some of the Ujamaa men and myself. And we'd have a podcast reviewing the week of that trial. And to hear these young men talk about their experience with the knee on the neck and those sort of things, it was just phenomenal. We even had retired Sergeant Carter, police officer Sergeant Carter here in St. Paul. He was on the podcast with us. To see the relationship and the talk between the former police officer and some of these young Black men was just phenomenal. And we had great reviews on it. A lot of people that I didn't expect to hear would call me and say, hey, what a phenomenal podcast to hear these young men talk with their experience and all that sort of thing. So that's part of that healing that we were allowing to do through that George Floyd stuff, because that was pretty traumatic.
Yeah. So you mentioned, another thing you mentioned was the Ujamaa music group.
Yes.
And is there some way to tap in online? Do they have any YouTube videos, or how
Yes.
do you get? Yeah,
What if I do this? What I can contact our office and she could send it to you, and could you get it out?
Yeah, we'll get it out to everyone.
Okay, yeah, I would do that today, because they've probably done, I don't know, 4 or 5 different songs for different things. The Facing Race Awards that just passed, they did a special song, wrote a song for the race for that. They even performed at the state fair 3 days this summer. Phenomenal, phenomenal. And it's funny is because this group was put together. There's 4 young Black guys at all different genres of music. One's a Christian artist, one's a rapper. And of course, because it's got to be clean. We're representing Ujamaa, so you can't bring no garbage up in here. And they were together probably about a year doing a variety of different things. And now our lead guy, Bio, he just went to California 2 weeks ago. He just left us to pursue his music. He was an Ujamaa man. He's off to pursue his music in Los Angeles. Yes, and the other guys are here, but what they're getting ready to do, Kirk Johnson, like I said, he's the magic man behind the music. These guys write their music and they write their own lyrics, and they usually do it for an organization. And so now he's getting ready to begin looking for new talent. So during info session, we let guys know, hey, we have a music opportunity here. And it kind of evolved. That wasn't the plan to have the music group. It kind of just evolved, and it just kind of grew for itself. And it's a great plug for Ujamaa, and it's a great way to reach people.
Great. That's wonderful news. So does anyone else on the meeting today have any questions directly for Darnell? I want to give everybody an opportunity. If there's anything that you want to bring up to Darnell, please do so. If not, I think, Darnell, you've really covered it extremely well. I mean, it just the host of services and supports that Ujamaa is providing to these young men is really incredible. And I know it's not easy. And you have staff at Ujamaa. I'm assuming you use volunteers as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is that if people want to contact you,
That same number. You can call that same number.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And that number, they call the main number there was 651-528-8006, right? Was the
Yes,
main
sir.
desk.
And also, I'd like to just put this out there too. We have we just started it back up just last month. They have a thing called Power Hour here. And Power Hour is where we invite someone of anybody to come in and speak to our men. We'll provide lunch, and then you come in and tell your story, and that's it. And we look for anybody that would like to do it. We've had Alan Page here. We've had, a number of different people. We even have our own staff that do it. And we also have people from the outside come in, come tell your story. Guys will listen to you. In fact, we just started it back up. And last month, like I was sharing, 3M is one of our funders. And last month we had the CEO of 3M here to meet our Ujamaa men, Mike Roman. And it was phenomenal. We probably had 25 guys here, and here these guys are looking at this man. They all looked him up before he came. This is the guy that has the Scotch tape and the scrub pads and, all these kind of things like that. And he's the CEO of all this. And did you know he makes $22 million a year? And this is all the things. So they were all pumped up about that. So when he came here, it was just phenomenal. He just stood and he sat with the guys and talked and told about his life. They had all kind of really good questions for him. It was just really cool for him to come, because 3M has really taken an advanced step in social justice and in organization and connected to us to do so. It's been really a great trip. So we have Power Hour, and I think 2 weeks ago we had one with Target Foundation. People came in and tell their story. Like I said, we just like to have guys from the community. It doesn't matter what nationality you are. We want people to introduce Ujamaa men to everybody, so they can hear everybody's story. Everybody's got a story.
Well, and I would think some of the members on today might be very interested in doing that, and sharing some of the services and opportunities they may have, either for employment, for housing, and other supports that are available in the community. So that we definitely want to make sure people take advantage of that. So we will make your information available on our website as well, in the R3 website going forward. I just want to say thank you, Darnell, so much.
Thank you very much
for coming in and presenting. You've really given us a lot of information about Ujamaa and the great work you're doing there and continue to do. And I think a lot of the other organizations that are here today might have some ideas about how they can support, your work at Ujamaa, and definitely want to do that. So just a round of applause for Darnell. You can, you can do the
Thank you.
the clapping hands, and I got to get the applause track from one of these late night shows or something that we can run at night. But if we've got a few more minutes here, if people will leave the meeting open so that you can look at the chat if there's anything else in there with contact information. If you want to put your contact information, please do so in the chat. But just real quickly, maybe do a quick runaround for folks. I'll call on you by name, and if you have something you want to share or an update for your program or service, we can do that real quickly here at the end. So maybe we start with Cindy Wessels, if you've got something you want to share. If not, that's fine. Just say Merry Christmas.
Hi, everybody. This is Cindy Wessels from Him for Her Mentorship Ministry, and we continue to work with women inside and outside of prison. And just a great presentation. It's fabulous what this program is doing, and I think it'll affect many, many generations. So thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.
There you go, Darnell. How about Tom Lundquist?
Good morning and now good afternoon, everybody. It's good to be together. Darnell, thanks for presenting today. You're doing a great job, and boy, I just love Ujamaa. I'm so glad that you guys are doing what you're doing. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Tom.
You bet. Just real quick.
I miss seeing you though.
Yeah. That's why I want to make sure to be here today. I wanted to at least see you.
I appreciate it.
Good to see everybody else too. Real quickly, Veris, we have 2 houses, one in Roseville, one in Gold Valley. And we help men in reentry and recovery, and we provide mentors to them. And things are going well. So Merry Christmas, everybody. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mary Cardinal Peterson, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Keeping busy. The Minnesota Corrections Association has put together their legislative agenda for 2022 and is looking, the tentative date for the Capitol Day is January 27th. We decided this year we're going to try to do it just before the session gets started. But we're waiting to make sure that there's no mandatory trainings or meetings for legislators, and they won't tell us that till the first of the year. But we're going to try to get ahead of it. Word is a lot of legislators after this session are not going to be seeking re-election, more than usual, which will make things interesting. But the biggest thing right now that the legislative committee is watching is the predatory offender registration work group. They are in the final stages of preparing their report for the legislature. Unfortunately, I missed the meeting yesterday when they were going to kind of finalize. It's the little bit of monitoring I've been able to do of that is they're going back and forth. They're having very good discussions. I am impressed with that, but they're going back and forth. So are we going to see many changes to the registration laws? It's hard to say at the moment, but all their meetings are recorded. So I'll put in the chat where to find the Department of Corrections website page, and you can go in and look at the meetings. And yesterday's would be kind of the summary of where they're going with their report for those of you that are interested in that. But that's it. Looking forward to the holidays as soon as I can focus on that. But I hope y'all have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Mary. How about John Hulteen?
Darnell, great presentation. I don't know
you,
that
sir.
we've met, but I'd like to make that happen.
Absolutely.
I'll put my email address in the chat. I'm with the Salvation Army, the Adult Rehabilitation Center in Minneapolis.
Okay.
I'm on just 1 second. Yeah, we're going to be just an update here. Of course, you understand we're under renovation, and we will be opening up to 90 beds in January. And we've just got our brand new $500,000 kitchen turned over to us. So we're pretty excited about that.
Nice.
But thank you. Thanks, Darnell. Merry Christmas,
Thank you.
everybody.
And Bill Betzler.
Hi there. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas. Still, I have a couple clients working with in the RAIN program. It gives me life. Simple as that. Acts of service give me life. I'm really happy at this stage of my life to be involved with ex-offenders and homeless people. Yeah, they're my people. I'm glad to be here. God bless.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
How about Jesse Kaplan?
Yeah, excellent presentation. Darnell, as an alumni of both the Prison Fellowship Academy program, spent a lot of time at Lino Lakes, an alumnus now of the long-term Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge program. I now work for Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge as a peer support specialist, walking alongside these young men and women on their journey. And so I've taken note of your information. I will certainly add you to our pool of resources for the people that we serve. And also, if people are in need of peer support services, I'm in a unique position through AmeriCorps contracted to Teen Service that we can actually service anyone, regardless of their ability to pay or insurance. I'm a walking grant and able to provide that peer support service. So I'd like to be a resource available to you and the men that you serve, men and women you serve as well. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. I'm a high school buddies with Tim Walsh.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. I see him all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't know Tim was that old.
No, actually Tim is 1 year younger than me. We used to sing in choir together and everything.
Yeah.
So you from Duluth?
Yeah, I'm from Duluth.
Okay.
Yeah. Me and him competed basketball, sang choir, everything together.
Nice. I'll let him know I saw you in presentation today.
Yeah, tell him.
Great. How about George?
Hi, Darnell, great presentation. Love Ujamaa Place. I'm back. I'm in the saddle now as executive director over at ReNet. Used to be CCTP, still is by name, but out hitting some great employers and re-engaging some of the community. Most of you guys know network community. It takes a village to raise a child, and it takes a village really to a community to come around to affect change. So enjoying it. 30 days in, and we're getting some things online. We will be launching some fun stuff, including some training programs in-house now. So looking forward to seeing it built back out. I myself was a CCTP entry point back in 2007. So it's fun to come full circle from CCTP to R3 and back to ReNet. And so looking forward to the bigger scope of the vision. It kind of fits me. Let's put it that way. But Darnell, great presentation. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, everybody. Good to see everyone. Look forward to firmly connecting this new year. So thank you very much.
Great. How about David Springer?
Darnell, I want to express my appreciation for your dedication and all that you do accomplish. And Merry Christmas to everybody. Be blessed in your pursuit of Christ.
Thank you, sir.
Tim Dorway.
I should be thanking Tim.
Why?
Tech Dump.
Oh yeah. Darnell.
They put some of our guys to work.
Yep. Darnell, I want to thank you for your presentation. It was really helpful. I'm literally in my first week here. Okay. And I'm actually, I think, sitting at David Springer's old desk. I just realized and put two and two together. So I'm in my first week here as a work readiness administrative specialist. Just feel so blessed. Thankful for God's love and grace. Just celebrated 1 year outside the wall. And I was at Lino Lakes for about 36 months as well. and didn't have a chance to do PFA because I didn't have enough time. But man, I'm grateful for second chances, and I'm so excited to work here and to work with great people like you all. And Darnell, I updated our contact information that we have for Ujamaa Place on the
come see you.
spreadsheet while we were talking, and I put my information in there. So please, drop me a line and let's connect.
Yep, for sure, for
All
sure.
right, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Praise
Thank
God,
you.
bless you, man.
God bless.
And how about Darren Hunt? I've got a photo. Oh, there.
Yeah.
There he
Hey.
is.
Hey. How's everybody?
Everybody's good,
Uh,
Darren.
So I'm Darren Hunt with Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge. Work with our alumni, those that are coming out of our programs. Some of the big things that have happened with our alumni department is just that we are considering anyone who's been a part of any one of our programs for any length of time as alumnus. Darnell, great job on the presentation. Thank you for all you do. I would look forward to being able to connect some of our men that are coming out of our, especially our short-term programs with your services there. Jesse's one of our great recovery navigators with AmeriCorps. We started that relationship just in September. And that's something maybe some of your programs would want to look into is
I would like to connect that too. Because I actually have one of my guys that was on my caseload. He got out of prison about a year ago, doing okay. Long story short, he's up at your program in Brainerd, I think.
Okay.
He just called me the other day because he can only call me a certain window. I missed his call, but I think 2 weeks ago I got to talk to him for the first time, and he called me to make amends to me.
Wow,
I could hear his counselor in the room and everything. And he called me to take amends because right before he fell apart, I bought him about $800 in tools.
Okay. So he had some amends to make.
And he called me and he was crying. He said, Darnell, I so appreciate your help. He said, I got to tell you. He said, I sold those tools. I said, I forgive you, brother. That's okay. You needed them tools when we got them for you. You know what I mean? So I'm glad he's getting the help. He's up north and I'm waiting for him. He's going to be there for a while and it's going to be good for him. It's going to be great for him.
Good, good. Yeah, we just started a recovery navigator, or will start in January, out of our Brainerd program, also out of our Rochester program. We'll have 4 in Minneapolis, as well as a project coordinator. So able to provide peer support for any of our alumni, plus anybody in the community. Like Jesse had said, we can do that. I created a number that'll ring to all of our recovery navigators. I can put that in the chat as well, if that's helpful. But also, you guys might want to reach out to AmeriCorps if you work in recovery at all. They have positions that are fully funded by grants that work on a September to July basis.
Oh, wow.
I think the application last year was due in March. And they were looking to place about 50 recovery navigators in Minnesota. We're not able to fill that quota, so I mean we're staffing 8 of them right now, and it's to build capacity. So if you deal with those in recovery, it's to build capacity on what you can do. So we didn't have the capacity to reach out and provide peer support to every single person, but now we do through this grant, and so I would just encourage you, if you do that. It's AmeriCorps funded, so you got to agree to a few things, but as long as Jesse doesn't lead a Bible study, you can do anything else. And you can't replace anybody's position. So I could get rid of that staff and bring somebody on for free, but it's to increase capacity, which is exactly what we've seen. It's been awesome. I'd love to talk to anybody about that if you have any questions. But Teen Challenge, we're doing well. We just closed on property up in Alexandria, looking at opening an outpatient program out of there before a licensed short-term, long-term program as well in the next couple of years. And just continue to keep going forward, trying to help everyone we can.
Yeah, that's great.
Great. How about Jane Johnson? No, she maybe stepped away. Mary Moss?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go.
Here. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm here. It was operator error. I'm trying to get myself unmuted. I'm really grateful to hear about all these wonderful resources for the gentlemen in the Twin Cities. It's so needed right now. you know, I'm so emotionally engaged in that need.
Yes.
I work at a juvenile detention center. So my kids are not 18, but as of late, I've had a few that are 18. And at times they do relocate down to the city. So this will be, you know, something that I can tell them about.
Please do.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Mary Moss.
I came in late, so I didn't put the video on. My computer's a little slow. But Darnell, I have to say that you warmed my heart. You are an inspiration.
Thank
I
you.
just admire you. I admire the way you are with people, the way you speak about the clients that you've been working with, and being in the interplay and the respect and with each other. I'm just so grateful to have been part of this today.
Thank you so much.
You know, so I'm hoping that you're going to celebrate Kwanzaa.
Yeah, we
soon
were here.
with
We
the
were here.
men.
I'm celebrating Christmas at home. I'll celebrate
Okay.
Kwanzaa.
Well,
but
happy Kwanzaa, happy
Thank you so much.
Hanukkah, happy Christmas to all.
Here you go.
To us, a
And-
Savior was born. It's coming real like 9 days.
And last but certainly not least, John Henderson.
I'm pushing buttons here, pushing buttons. As in previous, en route to Duluth, but I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Darnell, your dedication and heart is quite evident, and we're glad to have you. Glad to hear what's happening. It's the whole idea is we need to know what the body of Christ is up to. And sometimes we're not always sure what the left hand and the right hand are doing. And we need to share the wealth and unite and keep on moving forward. I am the founder of the Rain Homes Network and other organizations throughout 6 states in the upper Midwest. And now we're working on Oaxaca, Mexico, getting some established. We got all our T's crossed and I's dotted, both with Homeland Security in US and also in Mexico now too. So we're excited to expand even outside of the upper Midwest. Board member of R3 and staunch supporter for the population that everyone on this Zoom supports, and just want to again thank you all for your prayers and support. Let's keep marching forward and have a very Merry Christmas and a blessed 2022. Amen.
Amen.
So Merry Christmas all, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and wonderful holidays to all of you. Thank you for being here today. And again, thank you, Darnell.
Thank you so much.
We'll get over to see you, maybe have lunch with you someday over there.
I know Otis is going to want to call you for that. Thank you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much.
We'll get together. Thank you. Bye, everyone.